Hi,
Thank
Jill.
you so much for being my guest on this inaugural episode of the Coach's Cut Live. I'm
I
so happy
love
you're here
that.
with me.
I'm really
Do you
happy to be
like
here
it?
too. I do. The coach's cut. It
It's
just
like
sounds.
my little, yes, it's like my little take on the director's cut. I don't feel like I should have explained that because it should be that obvious, but for anyone who was wondering where it came from, that's why.
actually, actually, I needed a bit of clarification.
Oh,
I just knew it
I'm
sounded
glad I
really good.
said it then.
I just knew it sounded good. The coach's cut.
Exactly.
Now I know why. The director's cut. Behind the
Yes,
scenes,
I
baby.
know. Claude suggested it to me. So
Oh,
there we go. It didn't come out of my own head, but thank you, Claude, for
yeah.
suggesting it. I like it.
Thank you, Claude.
Jen, it's so good to have you here. I'm going to be doing these lives every other week because I've realised something. This hopefully this will strike a chord with most people actually that do you know what? Actually, going live is so much bloody easier than the whole rigmarole of trying to pre-record video content. I think going live is just so easy. It's once and done, and I like it. I like going live.
Yeah, I haven't been live with my podcast yet, but it's true. You're just doing it, and it's there, and it's out there, and
It's there. It's
it's
done. You're not
definitely
overthinking.
no, and it's definitely hashtag not perfect.
Definitely, like everything I produce. Hashtag not perfect,
Yeah, I mean, who needs
which is
perfection?
fine. Absolutely.
Mm.
So, Jen, I'd love you to introduce yourself. And then I'm going to ask you to share a bit. So the format really for these lives is that my intention with these is to bring some of the incredible coaches that I get to work with, of which you are one. So Jen is one of my legacy private clients who I adore. And so I've got my mastery clients, my legacy clients, and I just wanted to have these opportunities to bring you on and just spotlight some of the incredible women that I get to work with. I'm so lucky. Um, so could you just introduce yourself and tell people a little bit about your coaching niche and what you do?
Yes, I can do that. I'm Jennifer Evans, aka Zen Jen, and I help smart, soulful women to that are craving more, that feel stuck, step into their fullest, freest life unapologetically. And
We love that.
we will go, I'm sure we'll go into a bit more detail shortly, but basically, I help women create their fullest life, the fullest life they could possibly imagine and more, without guilt, without shame, with courage, with confidence, with self belief.
Jen, do you know what stands out for me when you say that is that I think as women, we have been socialized, anyone socialized as a woman has been brought up to think that a certain level of fulfillment is what's available for us. You know, we're always hearing the things you've got to take the rough with the smooth, you've got to compromise, you've got to, well, sometimes you have to sacrifice what you really want for family or for this or for that. And I think these are such stories that go round and round for us. And I know that since working with you and, really being privy to your world and the kind of coaching that you do, what stands out for me is that you are the epitome of someone who has walked the walk to
Mm.
get to a place where you are positioned so well to help women do this, to stop setting that bar too low for themselves, to stop compromising all the time on what they want from their life.
Yes.
Could you share a bit about your own story?
Yeah, sure.
Because I think it's really relevant for what you do now.
Yes. Um, I've had a very, very varied life. It feels like I've lived about 12 to 20 different lifetimes in this life. I'm now 56. I know. I look amazing. It's the filter.
I wouldn't have put you a day over 36. Have I taken it too far?
Yeah, maybe. um, but I feel the most energized and excited and fulfilled than I have ever felt before. Um, so I've, like you, Jill, I was in the corporate world for more than 15 years, and I did what I thought I was supposed to do. I was married. I had what looked like from the outside the perfect life. I lived with a really beautiful, loving husband. I had an amazing job. I traveled. I lived in Europe. I traveled around Europe, and it looked peachy from the outside.
Mm, mhm.
But it felt really empty. It felt meaningless in for a lot of the time. And I found myself bouncing from one situation to the other. So I left my husband because he felt more like a brother. Met somebody else, moved to Canada, and again created what looked like this perfect life. We lived in a beautiful home in Canada, north of Toronto, had an amazing job. Um, and from everybody else, oh my God, I wish my life was like yours, Jen. But again, I was really empty, and the corporate world was just literally sucking me dry. And I always felt a calling to help others. And I think a lot of
Mm,
women feel that in some way or another. It's the nurturer, the natural nurturer that's within us. So I finally
I
started
agree.
to listen, and I started my
Mm,
own personal development journey and spiritual growth journey about 20 odd years ago, because I realized that actually it's not from outside myself that the change has to be made. It's from within. And so I
yeah.
sort of dabbled, and then I moved back to the UK after 10 years in Canada with two suitcases, $2,000, two divorces, and my beautiful, amazing dog Charlie. And that was sort of around
Oh,
40.
Jen.
And I remember moving, I didn't have a job, I didn't have a home. I stayed on my brother's
Mm,
couch for 6 weeks because it's the only place I could stay with my dog. But I got myself a job very quickly. I found myself an apartment, but I was just questioning everything in my life. Like, why am I at this age? And I've done some work, but it's still not working for me. What is wrong? What am I doing wrong? So I went much deeper.
yes. That's so interesting because I think that's really common. It's like, what am I doing wrong? Why can't I be happy with this life that other people are looking in on and
Mm,
thinking, oh, Jen's got everything. She's got the
mm,
lot.
mm.
Why can't I be happy with that? What's wrong with me that that doesn't fulfill me? And I think you and I know that, when you do start drilling down to it, usually there's some incongruence somewhere around what really matters to us, isn't there?
Yeah.
So I don't want to second guess, but I know you quite well, and I know that you've done a lot of work around that now.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I went into sort of working with women. I listened to that voice in terms of helping women, and I've always been drawn to healing. So I started a holistic practice around healing and reflexology and massage, which naturally evolved into coaching. And as I deepened my transformation and my personal growth, my coaching clients deepened. So that was over a decade ago now. And
Yeah.
I really stepped into I really went within and took a deep look at myself, um, because there's so many hidden patterns, or there's so many hidden belief stories and belief systems that we tell ourselves that we're completely subconscious to it. And those belief
Mm,
systems and stories and the self judgment shape our outer world. They shape our behavior, and they shape what actually happens in our outside world because of our behavior. So, there was a lot of, even though I looked really confident on the outside, there was a lot of self doubt and lack of confidence had a lot of low
Yeah.
self-esteem, and that acted out, you know, attracting all the wrong men in all the wrong places, never available emotionally or physically,
Stupid
and
wrong men.
stupid men. And it wasn't until I took, I took that within, I really reflected so much and took a journey of self-discovery to really realize, well, what am I doing that's attracting that? Because it was my behavior, even though my belief, even though at the time I was like, this is what I want, my beliefs and my behavior was still behaving in the way of not feeling worthy, not feeling good enough, not feeling lovable. And it wasn't until I realized what I was doing that things changed for me. And then I met my wonderful partner, Dominic, and moved to Italy because why not?
Because why wouldn't you?
Why
Right?
wouldn't you?
You are, one thing about you, Jen, I always think when you tell that story is that you have never been someone who has lacked courage or bravery to do something bold. And I think
Mm,
that's quite interesting because some people would say, well, if you've got that courage to move to another country at the drop of a hat, surely you can do anything.
mm,
But the thing is, it's not the full picture, is it? You need to do that inner work to understand what it is that actually fulfills you, because it isn't a location,
no,
and it's probably not actually another person either. It's inside. And I feel like this is your thought leadership around soul alignment, which is really what you're known for. It is
mm,
really helping women live in alignment with their soul. That's your journey, isn't it? That's the journey
yes,
you went on.
yes. It
Tell me a
wasn't.
bit about how. Sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say, it wasn't until I really connected, because I have always been heart led, but I also have ignored
Mm,
my intuition and what my soul has been calling for, whether that was especially around relationships. I got it around my job quite quickly. I
yep.
realized
Mm-hmm.
actually this isn't the way for me, but relationships really was the one that sort of kept me down that rabbit hole. And it wasn't until I did that soul aligned work, which means aligning with your soul and means aligning with who you truly are underneath the expectations, the roles we excuse me, the roles we play, the identities that we've created for ourselves, and all those the sort of self-sabotaging patterns that we create because we think we're not enough, because we think we're not worthy.
Yes.
So when your soul aligns, you really tune into that beautiful, loving being that you were born to be. You realize that because you are here, you are enough. And you start
Ooh,
to,
say that
yeah,
again.
because you are here, because you were born here, being born means you're enough. Like we are
I love that.
walking, talking miracles. Life
Absolutely. Our
is,
enoughness is innate.
yes, yes. And when you tap into
Mm,
that soul alignment, when you tap into your soul, you feel that, you embody that. So you're not taught it, and it doesn't come from mantras and affirmations, although that can help. There's also a lot
yeah.
of undoing of that. There's sort of going into where that came from and whether that was true or not. So there's an element that your logical brain needs to be involved in, because otherwise there's
Mm,
conflict. So you
yes.
need to line up your mind and your
Yeah,
heart,
that makes sense.
needs to be congruent. But when you really tap into who you truly are, and I've experienced a lot of activations around that, and that's what I do for my clients as well. Part of what I do is I activate that truth at the deepest possible
Mm,
level, and when you do that, it all falls away. That the lack of self-worth, the lack of self-esteem, the lack of confidence, the lack of not enough, or the not enough falls away, and you do literally become filled with self-love, self-worth, all the really amazing self-belief,
All the
self-trust,
selves.
all the high vibe, all the high vibrational selves.
As you're saying that, what's coming up for me is, my God, you know, what is possible for us when we move into that way of being? Because I suppose it's again, and everyone who knows me knows I love this visual of the setting the bar at a level that we believe is available for us, and then kind of realizing there is no bar is just massive. Like, it's such a huge thing. I think for almost everyone that I work with, every coach I work with who's trying to grow their business, at some point we have a conversation around, where are you setting the bar in terms of what you think you're capable of achieving in your business? Because I will guarantee you're setting a bar, and if you set a bar, you're never gonna outperform it. It's not a bar, it becomes a ceiling.
Absolutely.
And yeah, and I think it's very similar with what you're talking about now. It's, if you can move into this state of alignment with the being that your soul intended for you or intends for you, I feel like, God, what is possible for us when that happens?
Anything is true. Anything is possible. It's the boundless possibilities. And I think when you're aligned with what your soul, with your soul. So we all, depending on your belief systems, but one of my belief systems is that we all came here to be, to love, and different ways of loving, how you love, and to give, and how do you actually give. We all have our own innate abilities, gifts. What makes us different are usually a good sign as to what our gifts are. That's your gift. What makes you different is your gift. Because we had an interesting conversation not that long ago about feeling different and not feeling like you belong to your family. But that's a really good
Yeah, we
sign.
did. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good sign of what makes you unique, because we all have something really special and unique to contribute, whether that's on a small scale or a grand scale, within our circles, within our communities, um, whatever we are feel called to do. So when you're in that alignment, when you're aligned with what your soul and why you came here to be, it's limitless. Possibility is limitless. And that's where you get that
Do you know
unshakable
what
belief.
yes. And that unshakable belief comes, I think, when we realize that the shoulds are so irrelevant for you once you're in that level of alignment. Because suddenly the things that you've been told you should do or that should matter for you, it's like you don't have to listen to those because you've gone on a completely different level
You've
in terms of the
transcended it.
depth of looking into what. Yes, absolutely. And you said something just now. You said, there have been times when you've ignored your intuition.
Mm.
How important is intuition when it comes to this work that you do? And the reason I ask that, I'm going to caveat it a little bit, because the reason I ask that is that I have found when I am beating myself up with the shoulds
Mm-hmm.
or the musts, it's usually because I'm not listening to what intuitively feels right for me.
Mm.
So because the shoulds and the musts come from other people, they're not coming from inside us.
They come from conditioning, though. We are conditioned, especially as women, and not just women, men as well have got their own conditioning. But
Right.
women are conditioned for hundreds and hundreds of years, going back to the 11th
Yeah,
century. In
absolutely.
this kind of society, in tribal societies, women are revered. But in the societies that we grew up in, we were we had to seek permission. We had to conform to society. We had to fit in to what society thought was acceptable. So, and we had, we were We are the ones that were at home, that had to ask for money, that had to ask to go out, that couldn't even go out by themselves. You know, there's so much
Right.
conditioning, generational conditioning, plus the conditioning that we grew up in culturally and in our families.
God, that's easy for you to say.
It's not. Why is culturally? There we go, culturally. Um,
Culturally.
Lola.
Yeah.
So that's why we get wrapped up in these shoulds, and why we
Yeah.
feel guilty when we follow our own path, when we follow that intuition. But when we are aligned, as I said, when you're truly soul aligned and you connect to that energy, that incredible, freeing, beautiful, loving energy, it transcends all of that, because you realize I'm here for a reason, and my reason
Mm.
matters. This really matters. This matters more than the shoulds and the have
That's
to.
such an important point. Having the realization that this matters to me. This
Mm-hmm.
really matters. And it matters that I do this thing. It matters that I live in this way. It matters that I build this business, whatever it is. Um,
And it matters
so
that we
tell
do
us a
it
bit
with.
about the work that you do with women.
I just want to say why it matters as well. It matters as
No, go
well
on.
because
No, yeah,
it
go
doesn't
ahead.
have to be
Mm,
all serious and get, we can get very serious when we're talking about spirituality. Whatever that means to everybody, it's very unique and
yes,
personal.
that's so true.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be serious. I mean, why life for me isn't about serious, and for some people it is. Some people are activists and they're serious and they're out to make a difference in that way. But I'm
Yep,
here to be joyful, to enjoy what I'm doing. My life isn't all about my job. My life is about joy, enjoying my life, feeling fulfilled, feeling that it's meaningful, and that it does actually make a
absolutely.
difference.
Yeah, yeah.
So your
And
question was,
and there is
mm,
something about, sorry, we've got a little time delay, haven't we? Yeah, apologize. But yeah, that's a really important point that you've just made around understanding what it means for something to really matter to you deeply, because when something matters to you deeply, that's when you can make it a non-negotiable. That's when you can actually prioritize what you need to make that happen. And again, as women with that conditioning, that is something that we have been brought up to not do, not to prioritize, to not make our own needs non-negotiable. So yeah,
mm,
it's a really good point.
absolutely.
I'm
And
interested, I'd love to hear a bit more about how you work with women on this, because I just feel like it's such a important topic, but also it's a big topic. Sometimes I think there's this feeling that is is it even possible for me to move into this state of sovereignty around what I want and what I need, and have it being in soul alignment? Is that even possible for me? So when someone comes to work with you, Jen, where do you start that
mm,
process with them?
first of all, I just want to say that I know it feels like a stretch for a lot of people, but living in soul alignment, and it does feel big, but it starts with small little things. It starts with awareness. So when somebody comes to see me, when I work with somebody, the first thing we do is look at awareness. Help them
Mm-hmm.
become aware of where their life is now, what matters to them, what the values are, what they want more of, what do they want less of. it, and it's very difficult at that point for women to really know what they want as well. So that takes.
Exactly. I think that's, yes, it's so often, we know that we don't feel fulfilled, or we know that something in our life isn't right. But if someone said to us, well, exactly what do you want? We would find it so difficult to answer that.
Yes, and most of my clients come to me without knowing. They don't, I don't know what I want, because one, they don't know what's possible for them, and two,
Hmm.
they've been wrapped
Yeah.
up so much in feeling responsible for everybody else and everything else, putting everybody else's needs above their own, or overachieving, perfectionism,
Mm.
people pleasing, all of that. They're so busy on that and keeping everybody else happy, they've forgotten what makes them happy, what brings them joy. So that's sort of the starting point, to really
Yes.
uncover and explore that together. What are what's their passions? What are they really passionate about? And there's different ways that we do that. And I help them tune into their body to see what they're leaning in towards. So what do they want more of? What do they want less of? And then also, something that I think is really important is to really shine the light on their brilliance. We mentioned before about every single one of us is unique, and we have our own innate abilities, our gifts, our contribution. And we really look at that, because so much of that becomes so natural to us. We don't even see it.
Mm.
We're blind to how
That is so
amazing
true.
we are, how powerful we are.
Absolutely.
And it's easy for we
We're
forget.
so often, I think that's so true. So many of the women that I work with, so many of the coaches I work with, when I begin working with them around, well, what is it about you that's unique? They will start from a place of nothing. There's
Mhm.
nothing about me that's different, really. I've done the same coach training as lots of other coaches, and there's nothing. And of course, by the end of working through that, it's like some veil has been lifted. So, and that's just from a business perspective, from a personal brand
Mhm.
perspective. So you do that work from a life perspective. Like
Yes.
that's massive for people to
Yes.
see that.
Yeah, to really delve into that, the because we all have gifts, we all have something to bring. That could be
Mm,
tied up in our values, in our personality. It's certainly through our experiences and our skills and our
absolutely.
knowledge. I've worked with a lot of women that have had imposter syndrome, and
Mm,
they've done incredible things within their career and within their life, and they just don't see it. And
yeah.
it takes
Yeah.
somebody else to sort of gently pull that from them, to say, hang on a minute, who is it that, do people come to you? What do they ask you? What advice are they seeking from you? How do people interact with you? Do
Yes.
you light up a room when you walk in it? And we are so blind. So I think that's really a really key place to start, because we can go into, and we do go into, lots of the patterns and why those patterns are there, because a lot we
Mm,
highlight some of the more destructive patterns, um, self-doubt and the inner critic. And we go
mm.
deep, we're gentle but deep. Where did that come from? Where did it
It is deep
start?
work, though, isn't
it
it?
is it is
This
deep
is deep
work.
work. And I think what I love about you, Jen, is that you're actually very unapologetic about that. You're
Mm,
very, you are someone who will put that stake in the ground and say, you know what, if you just want something that's very surface level, I'm probably not the right coach for you.
mm,
But if you
mm,
want to go deep and if you want to actually make changes, big changes in your
okay.
life,
Mm,
I'm the person that can support you to do
mm.
that. And that's
Fantastic.
one of the things that I think I really want all coaches, anyone listening, to really take that on board. You need to know where your sweet spot is and double down on that. If
Mm,
you are someone that believes in the deep work, absolutely put a stake in the ground. That's the way I work.
yes. And
You do that really well.
thank you. And the deep work, the transformation. So it's the reason why we do deep work is because we can play on the surface, but it doesn't ever change anything underneath. And we're talking about
Absolutely.
big change, but that big change doesn't
Yes.
necessarily mean you need to blow up your life. We're talking about creating change within you. So how
Mm-hmm.
creating inner freedom and inner peace and calm. So you feel grounded and focused. So you feel you're filled with self-worth and the feeling of good enough. because when you do that, those other patterns melt away, because
Absolutely.
you're no longer needing to protect yourself, because a lot of the self-sabotaging patterns that we do are around fear, and we need to keep ourselves safe.
Mm,
But for the most
hmm.
part, we're not in a life and death situation. So I
Right.
really, we look,
Absolutely.
yeah, we look at that, and we go to that place of letting go of what other people think about you, letting go of the worry about what other people might think about you. I always find it quite interesting that we're so focused on what other people might think about us, it actually stops our own joy.
Oh, absolutely. I think self sabotage around your own joy, your own enjoyment of life,
Mm,
is massive for
mm,
women. We
mm,
self sabotage it by being so self conscious,
mhm,
so over aware of what other people might be
mm.
thinking.
And, and
You're absolutely right.
and absolutely petrified that we're going to make a fool of ourselves.
Yeah, yeah.
So I help change perspective around all those beliefs and help people see it with fresh new eyes and go, hang on a minute, what's more important? Going back to what really matters here, and really embodying
And
that.
that's the key, going back to what really matters here. What really
Mm,
matters here for me.
mm, mm,
That's the key to everything. And I don't care whether you are thinking about making a big change in your life, whether you're thinking of starting a business, whether you are thinking of making any kind of decision. Those core beliefs and core values are where you have to keep coming back to,
yeah, your
not the
foundation.
external stuff.
Yeah,
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 absolutely.
yeah. So,
So Jen, tell me,
mm.
I mean, that has to be the fastest half an hour known to
Oh my
man.
gosh, I
It's
can't
gone
believe it's over,
so
hasn't it?
quickly. I could literally sit and talk all afternoon. But can
And
you just tell us a
we just
little bit?
go on.
We've literally scratched a tiny piece of the
Mm,
surface, haven't we? Because
yeah.
it's such an amazing topic. The good thing is that I know you have some resources. The first resource I want to share with everyone is
Mm,
Jen's podcast, which is called Soar and Flourish, and it is it's a beautiful podcast. And I don't say that about a lot of podcasts, and I'm using that word really intentionally. It's so beautiful because it's your voice, which I could listen to all day anyway, but also the topics that you choose to go deep on. Again, it's that depth in the
mm.
episodes. um it is a beautiful listen. So I will put the link, wherever you're watching this, I will put the link in, for Jen's podcast, and I absolutely urge you to go and listen. How else can people get in touch with you or be supported by you, Jen?
They can get in touch with me on my website, and that's thezengen.com. I have a LinkedIn page, an Instagram page, and a Facebook page. If people want to reach out and have a conversation with me, I am always open to having conversations with women and understanding where you are and helping you gain some clarity about what you want or even how to get there. So I
Mm,
love coaching women, and there's absolutely no expectations, no pressure. It's just a really good conversation. And if you want it,
absolutely.
some some insight and guidance on where you might be stuck.
Jen and I are very aligned on that, aren't we? That,
Yeah.
we're not those kind of coaches who are say, book a discovery call and we will go through and this, and I will try and sell my coaching to you. Like that.
Mm.
And if anyone who's followed me for a while knows that that is just, I think that's the last thing coaches should be doing, is selling what they do. We don't have to, as coaches, we don't have to sell what we do. But the difference is with us, Jen, is that we genuinely enjoy having these conversations, and there is something in it for us, as well as the person who's getting the coaching with
Yeah.
us in these calls.
It helps us stay
We get as much
connected.
out of it.
Yeah, we do. It helps us stay
Yeah,
connected to what's going on with other women and what women need. And
absolutely. Yeah,
I'm going
yeah.
to be creating a program exactly around that, and I'm going to build it with women as we go. I think that's a really important way to do a program, is to
Me
move
too.
through it live And every program will be different because it depends on the group of women that are coming together. But it's about the women that are in that group and how I best serve them. You know, what are they struggling with? What are they missing in their lives? What do they want
Absolutely.
more of? What are they ready for? Because not everybody's ready at that deeper level. So, you know, there's two programs that I'm wanting to put out there. One is a shorter program, and then one is to go really deep, with 6 to 8 months, depending on what's needed. I'm just, as I say, I'm playing with that at the moment, and include a retreat because I really see the value of having a group of women in person in Italy, Italia.
Yes, of course.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Well, you know I love retreats. So, yeah, absolutely.
And there's
And
also a gift bundle as well I want to offer everybody.
yes,
Um,
perfect. Yes.
and that is a workshop that I did, Soul Aligned Living, how to live your fullest life unapologetically. And in
Which,
there,
can I just say, everyone, I went to, and it was fabulous. It was a gorgeous workshop. I absolutely loved it. So I'm going to put the link into wherever we are at the moment. I don't know. I hit live stream everywhere. We could be everywhere, Jen. Seriously, we're probably viral by now.
we're out in the ether,
we've been
Julie.
live for over 30 minutes. We're bound to be viral. But yeah, I'll put the link in for the gift bundle as well, because I would definitely urge
and there's a
people to grab
description
that.
that'll send people to the website page that's got a description of it and everything like that.
Lovely.
So yeah,
Perfect.
yes.
Good. That's wonderful. And like I say, the podcast as well, Soar and Flourish. Go and check that out. Jen, are you open to people coming and connecting with you, whether that's on LinkedIn or on Instagram? I think you're like me, aren't you? That mostly you love to connect on those platforms.
Yes.
And also, Jen was just saying that, you were just saying that you are, when you roll out your programs, the first kind of cohorts will be like a beta. It's going to be an exploration of what women want. So if you're watching this either live or on the recording, and you're thinking, oh, okay, that's something that I probably fit the mold of someone who that would appeal to. Jen, I don't want to speak for you, but I'm guessing, just because I know, because we work together, that insight from people like that at this stage would be really helpful as you're building it out. So you'd be interested in people booking a call with you for that, wouldn't you?
Absolutely. And we can put the link of that in the chat as well.
Lovely.
As I say, I think it benefits everybody.
It does, absolutely.
And whoever's on that beta program, it will be the lowest price it will ever be as well. Again, depending on what people are wanting, but I probably will run two, one a shorter one and one a longer, more in-depth one. And it will be around what the women in that group need, what they want, what they need to help them feel that sense of inner freedom, joy, lasting joy, not just surface happy, but deep lasting joy, transformation, and to really rediscover who they are and what they want in life and how to live that life.
And make it happen. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Jen, thank you so much. This was my first one of these Coaches Cut interviews. So I'm going to be inviting more of my clients, past and present, on for these conversations. But I'm so grateful to you for being the first one and trusting me to go live with me. Thank you.
Thank you. Very honoured, Jill. Very honoured.
Aww. Thank you. All right. Bye, everyone. Have a bloody great rest of your Thursday. Bye, Jen.
Bye, Jill.